So it's official. The Memphis Grizzlies will be facing the San Antonio Spurs in a one-game NBA play-in tournament game. This is definitely one of the least talked about play-in games, but I do think these two teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think this will be a pretty close and surprisingly fun game to watch. So in today's video, I'll be discussing who I think will win this game between the San Antonio Spurs and the Memphis Grizzlies. Before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and comment on this video, start a conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. This game is probably the least talked about game, simply because it's the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Spurs, but I actually think this will be an entertaining game. These are two teams that will win, not because of their three-point shooting or a crazy amount of talent. They'll win by how hard they work and their hustle, as well as being solid on defense. By no means will this be a high-scoring game. The best player on the court will belong to the Spurs and DeMar DeRozan, and I honestly don't have the most faith in him to be absolutely great in a game like this, because we all know in prior years, especially on the Raptors, DeRozan has underperformed in critical moments, and it's not crazy to think that he could do that here. And on top of that, the Memphis Grizzlies actually have a defender who could give DeRozan some trouble, as Dillon Brooks is a very strong and sturdy good defender who could definitely not get completely burned by DeRozan. I'm not counting out that he can have a good game. I'm just saying this isn't the best matchup and situation for him. For Memphis, their best player is Ja Morant, and it's the same thing with him, since the Spurs have an amazing defender to put on him in Dejounte Murray, who is a guard who is a top 10 perimeter defender in the league and a top 10 guard defender in the league as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ja Morant struggled somewhat in this game. The Grizzlies also have Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jonas Valanciunas. I think if those guys could have a big game, it would really help Memphis win. And there's a decent chance that they have a big game, since the Spurs are a small team and they have guys like DeRozan playing the power forward position. But on the Spurs, they have guys like Dejounte Murray and Keldon Johnson, who are guys who I think could step up and really help the Spurs in a game like this. We also have to remember that the Spurs have arguably the greatest head coach in NBA history and on their side. And if anyone was going to make a perfect scheme for this game, it would be him. These are both teams that are fairly young teams, because they have a bunch of key players who are young and a bunch of key players who are veterans. But I do think the Spurs have more veterans, and in a game like this, that can swing back and forth who will win. In the series between these two teams, Memphis actually won 2 out of the 3 games, which isn't a crazy big deal, but it definitely is a positive for the Grizzlies. In the 3 games Memphis has faced with the Spurs, Ja Morant has averaged 25 points and 9 assists, shooting 62% from the field. So maybe I'm wrong and Morant won't struggle at all. And if that's the case, which is something that could legitimately be the case, Memphis will probably win if Morant plays that amazing. And on the other side of the spectrum, for the Spurs, DeMar DeRozan in the 3 games versus the Grizzlies has averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 46% from the field in 30 minutes of play. And you have to remember that it is only 3 games, but it's not a good sign to see that he has struggled against the Grizzlies this bad. And I believe if both teams are healthy and nothing else gets in the way, I believe the Grizzlies will win this game by 5 to 10 points. And this is because Memphis is an above average offense, whereas San Antonio is a below average one, and Memphis is actually a top 10 defense in the league, whereas the Spurs are also below average again. And Memphis also won the season series, with some of those games being played without their second best player in Jaren Jackson Jr. And history has shown that the Spurs' best player in DeRozan has struggled against Memphis, so all signs point to Memphis being the logical answer. But I don't think the Spurs are completely out of it and they have no chance. They could very well win this game, and I would not be surprised at all. But if I have to make a prediction, I'll just go with the Grizzlies. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think is gonna win, the Grizzlies or the Spurs. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And comment on this video, start a conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.